Imagine for just a second soaring over the rugged, absolutely breathtaking landscape deep in the heart of Ethiopia. You're on a journey, right? Looking for monumental architecture. But instead of scanning the horizon for massive towers or spires reaching up into the clouds, you actually have to stop, look down, and peer straight into the earth. It kind of makes you wonder, what could possibly possess humanity to build downward? Well, welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to explore a cinematic marvel that literally challenges absolutely everything we think we know about building. We're talking about a place known as Lalibela, a site so profound it's revered as the New Jerusalem. And astonishingly, the whole shebang is entirely carved in stone.
Section 1. Descending into the Earth. I really want you to picture the dramatic visuals from the Global 19 report that captured this place. We're descending into a massive, deep, cross-shaped hole that has been completely excavated, right out of the searing red volcanic rock of the Ethiopian landscape. It's an intensely sensory experience just thinking about it, isn't it? You can almost feel the intense heat of the sun reflecting off that vibrant crimson earth. You can imagine the ancient dust in the air, and you can practically sense the sheer, vertigo-inducing vertical drop of the rock walls as we go deeper and deeper into the ground. And well, that brings us to the reality of a place that flat out defies the laws of architecture. When you and I think of construction, we inherently think of addition, right? We think of laying a flat foundation, placing bricks, mixing mortar, and stacking stone upon stone until a structure proudly rises up from the dirt. Well, I need you to completely forget that. Seriously, scratch that entirely, forget upward construction, forget bricks, forget mortar. Lalibela turns the very concept of architecture completely upside down. It's a practically impossible site where the ancient builders didn't build a church on the ground. They found this solid ground and painstakingly removed everything that wasn't a church. We're talking about hauling away thousands of tons of rock by hand to leave behind perfectly sculpted courtyards and intricate rooftops flush with the Earth's surface. It's mind-blowing. Section 2. Defying architectural laws. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is when you think about the sheer physical mechanics of a subtractive process, it's terrifying. If you make a mistake when you're stacking bricks, you just, take the brick off, wipe away the mortar, and try again. No big deal. But here, when carving downward into solid bedrock, there is no putting the rock back. Once it's gone, it's gone. It requires an absolute masterclass in spatial awareness, planning, and mathematical precision before a single chisel ever strikes the earth. It requires flawless execution to create something truly monolithic. And what does that mean? Formed of a single, massive block of stone. But here in Ethiopia, the application of this concept is just astonishing, because these structures are carved entirely downward into solid volcanic rock. Think about the gritty reality of that for a second. Volcanic rock is dense, it's heavy, it is incredibly unyielding. The sheer human effort required to carve out massive churches, complete with doors, windows, structural columns, and massive hollowed-out interiors, all from one continuous piece of the Earth's crust, it is staggering. It's an exhausting, heavy, monumental undertaking where every single strike of the hammer had to be perfectly calculated. 11. Let that number sink in for a moment. 11. We are not talking about one isolated, miraculous carving hidden in the rock. We're talking about 11 distinct, massive, monolithic structures. And they aren't just sitting next to each other randomly either. They form this interconnected complex of underground wonder, linked by a labyrinth of dirt trenches, tunnels, and ceremonial passages. The sheer scale of this accomplishment is almost impossible to wrap your head around. 11 massive monuments, completely carved out of the earth. And this brilliantly illustrates the timeline. Tracking this incredible history back, we land squarely in the 12th century. Over 800 years ago, these monolithic structures were completed. Think about that time frame. Unbelievable precision was achieved in an era long before modern machinery, before computer modeling, before laser leveling, or, dynamite. Every trench, every window frame, and every decorative arch was shaped purely by human hands and iron tools. And today, 8 full centuries later, this underground mystery completely endures. These structures have survived the relentless passage of time, enduring rains, weathering, and the shifting of the earth itself, preserving their majestic forms perfectly right there in the red rock. Section 3. Humans, Angels, and Stone. When you stand in the shadows of these towering rock walls, the hard architectural facts start to give way to something else entirely. There's this ethereal, whispering mystique that surrounds Lalibela. It's not just a construction site. It's a place of profound local legend where the boundaries between the earthly realm and the divine really begin to blur.
By day, this was a site of grueling human reality, right? The earthly sweat, the heavy iron tools, the backbreaking labor of chipping away at unyielding volcanic rock under the hot African sun. Humans by day. But, according to deeply held local legend, when the sun finally set and the exhausted human workers put down their tools to rest, a host of angels miraculously took over. Angels by night. The story goes that they picked up those very same tools and continued the fierce work through the night to finish the job. It's just a beautiful duality, isn't it? The marriage of intense human effort and divine miraculous intervention. It really speaks to how impossible the site feels, even to the people who have worshipped there for generations.
Section 4. The New Jerusalem Mystery.
Now, pulling ourselves back from the 12th century legends to reports like the original Global 19 broadcast, we really have to ask, why go to these impossible lengths? Why excavate an entire complex out of the bedrock? Well, because it wasn't just built as a flex of engineering, it was designed with a profound spiritual purpose. It was carved out to be a second Holy Land, a beacon of absolute devotion embedded directly into the continent of Africa. As the source so beautifully notes, it is the underground mystery of Lalibela, the New Jerusalem carved in stone. I mean, those words perfectly capture the profound spiritual legacy of the site. When you descend into those cross-shaped holes, you aren't just walking into a building. You are stepping into an ancient holy secret. It's a New Jerusalem, not constructed upward toward the heavens for all to see from miles away, but carved deeply, quietly, and securely into the protective embrace of the earth itself. The stone isn't just the building material here, folks. It is the sanctuary.
So, ultimately, we are left with one absolutely profound question. How was such precision possible in the 12th century? Really think about it. How did they manage the complex subtractive geometry, the sheer volume of excavated volcanic rock, and the flawless interconnected design over 800 years ago, all without making a single catastrophic mistake? It is a historical cold case that literally leaves us completely breathless. It's an impossible mystery of faith, architecture, and stone that invites us to keep questioning, keep marveling, and keep exploring. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll catch you next time.